Hello, welcome to the Craft House Magic Setter tutorials. My name's Ellie and today I'm going to show you how I stabilise a neckline that stretches out a little bit too much with a crocheted chain stitch, just to give it a little bit more rigidity so that it doesn't sort of stretch over your neck as you're wearing it. This can be a problem if you're knitting a garment that's quite a heavy material. So this is a DK weight yarn and it's quite heavy and stretches out the neckline as I'm wearing it. So this is the Gwanwyn pattern by Merino, and I've actually modified it into a cardigan. It is normally a sweater, but I've done some steeking up the front and just added an I-cord. So the neckline has got an I-cord on it, and I'm just going to go on the inside of the work and do some chain stitches just to stop it stretching out a little bit. It's just that little bit wide around the neck as I'm wearing it, because it's quite a heavy cardigan. That's all the weight is basically on the neckline. So let's get started. So here is my neckline that I'm going to stabilise. You can see that it has a little bit of give on there, so we want to reduce that by adding some crochet chain stitches all around the neckline here. So I've chosen a 4mm or size G crochet hook. It will depend on the weight of yarn that you're using as to what crochet hook size you should use. Probably use the crochet hook size that it suggests on the ball band. So I've got some of the yarn left over from the garment and I'm going to be putting a slip knot in. Pop that onto your crochet hook and we're going to be starting to grab some stitches along the side of this neckline. So I'm going to pick the little V of the stitches just here. You can see I've got two legs of a knit stitch where I've put the needle through. I'm going to pull my yarn through that stitch and then through the one on the hook, and that is literally all you're going to do all the way along. So you just make sure that you're working in the same line of stitches all the way along the neckline. You can keep working in this manner, and after each stitch I just give the work a little bit of a tug to keep this nice and tight. You don't want to have it stretched out so that when you finish crocheting it is stuck in the stretched out way that you've crocheted it, if that makes sense. So try to make sure that it's all nice and relaxed, the knitting, and you carry on crocheting across that work and keep that tension on your working yarn after every stitch. If you haven't got I-cord, you can still use this same method. So I've done the same thing around the neckline of this cardigan, and I basically decided that it was this edge here around the edge of the rib that was stretching out too much. Now that I've put the crochet chain stitch, it's not stretchy at all. And I just worked around the edge of the knitting. So in every stitch at the edge of the work I did a chain stitch, and then it's formed this nice edging here. So just as an example, I thought I'd show you where I'd put my crochet hook if I was stabilising this 2x2 rib. And I've just cast off here, and you can see that there's some little holes between the stitches. I'd literally put my crochet hook between those and do the same chain stitch between them so that you had a row of stitches along the end of that 2x2 rib, and it would look something like this once you added that little bit of crochet. So it would possibly look like that without that little crocheted edge, and it just gives a nice neat line of stitches. You can also do the same thing on the inside of a sleeve. Here I have put some chain stitches where the increase lines of the raglan were on this cardigan. I put my needle into the little bar between the stitches on every row and made sure that the material was relaxed so that when I finished doing the crochet it then didn't want to stretch out as much as the rest of the material, if that makes sense. So if you've got some baggy arms, this can work. So I'm going to carry on working across my I-cord across here, and I shall show you what it looks like when I'm done. this is the last stitch. There we are. I've stabilised all the way around that neckline. So there's the loop where my crochet hook's been. I'm going to snip that yarn, pull that through, and then sew that in with a darning needle, and that's a little bit less stretchy than it was before, so I'm sure that'll be stable enough now to wear and not to stretch out as I'm wearing it. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I shall see you in the next tutorial. Bye!